Cobra Kai's back. John Kreese is in prison. And oh my god, am I just very, very frustrated at what's going on in that stupid karate show. She-Hulk also debuted this week. The MCU has another big green monster, but this one's way more competent than Bruce. It has to be said, really. In honour of Jennifer Walters as well, we are talking our favourite fourth wall breaks in movies and TV, playing some Hulk-based trivia, all that and much more on this week's show. Welcome to the madness, Hulk Smash! Hello everyone, welcome back to Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. I don't do a monster truck voice, Jeannine.
No, you have a nice accent. You can't do a monster truck voice, and it would just not sound right.
No, I do more like it's like a sports event that's not overly macho. You know, like a
Can you
monster
do
truck round.
like a can you do like a football announcer accent?
What does a football announcer accent sound like?
You go to more football games than I do, so
Oh no, the dreadful guy who does United games. No.
you don't want to
It's
sound
very
like that guy.
corporate. It's very
No,
corporate, Janine.
not very exciting.
It's not particularly exciting, no.
Hmm.
But maybe
Okay.
that's where, maybe like from when I was younger, maybe that's where I kind of get it from. And my stop-start cadence when it comes to intros and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Perhaps
Okay.
Perhaps I have it from sports announcers. I don't know. Baseball has the best announcers, though, it has to be said. Like stadium
Okay.
announcers, 100%. Baseball is built on that. Anyway, what are we talking about? Sports announcers and baseball for? I don't know. It's because I'm too focused on baseball at the minute because football, or my football, not
Yes.
throwy football,
The
kicky
kiki
football,
football. Yes.
um, is going so horrifically horrific.
Aw.
But well, there's too much detail to get into about Manchester
I'm sorry,
United
you always
at
warned
the
me
moment.
not to get you to talk about football on
I
the
do,
show.
I do. There's far too much.
So,
There's far too much craziness to get into about Manchester United at the current moment. So I'm focusing on the Mets baseball far
okay.
more at the current present. Janine, is it about time for me to ask my question?
It is. It is.
Well, I'll just take a sip of lovely coffee, as it is the early morning for Morgan today for this recording, and ask. So, Janine, so
uh, a lot is up as
a
per
lot's
usual.
always soap, yeah. There's
Yes.
very rarely nothing. I when will the day be when I ask
When
that
we just have,
question
and I say nothing.
and you say no,
Moving on.
nothing's happened, nothing
Moving
at
on.
all has happened.
Yes, that's doubtful.
Madness.
Very doubtful.
And then the show's like 20 minutes long and it's all a
Yeah,
bit silly.
I don't see
Nothing
that
has
happening,
happened. No, neither do I.
but there is a lot up.
There is.
And one of those things, which you did allude to in the intro, is Cobra Kai season 5
Yes.
trailer was released. And we
Yes.
have talked a lot about Cobra Kai on this channel. We did the Karate Kid movies, and then you had your whole first time watch of the series, and we did a whole kind of live discussion on it, which you can check out on the channel. So, yeah, we are pretty excited, I'd say, for season 5 and seeing where this goes. It did have a very interesting ending,
Did.
so really, yes, your best friend Terry Silver found himself kind of winning the day and taking over Cobra Kai. Miguel's off to, I believe, where did he go? Mexico? Is that where he went to find his father?
Oh God, I've forgotten. He's definitely gone to find his father.
Yes. And Johnny's gone to go get him because there's word that his father could be into some dangerous things. So
Yes. It's all it's all protective from Johnny Lawrence at this
yes.
point in Cobra Kai, really, isn't it? He's still showing shreds of his 80s stereotypical bully self, but there's way too much heart in him these days for us to actually believe
Yes.
any of
Yes, and
it
he
anymore.
obviously really cares about Miguel,
He
on
does.
top of the fact that he still has his own son that he has issues with that he needs to work out. So,
Robbie's the worst.
yeah, so we
Morgan
see
hates
some kind of
Robbie.
face-off situations. We see a fight happening between Robbie and Miguel. So I don't know where that's gonna go. We see Cobra Kai has grown. There's so many students, and it looks like kind of several dojos spread across the city. Looks like
I love how Terry
Silver's
Silver.
bringing in
I love how Terry Silver in this trailer is like, oh, let's take over the world. But his
corporate
map is just
ties.
but his map is just suburban Southern California.
Well, I mean, you got to start small. And then he's bringing in recruits from a private jet. So
He is,
I think we're
yes.
seeing we are potentially seeing his main pupil from Karate Kid Part 3.
No, yeah,
So
he's in it, isn't he? I was
yeah.
quite surprised, really, that he didn't show up in the trailer because
Yeah.
if there's also someone Morgan hates from the Karate Kid franchise, it's Mike Barnes, who isn't even like remotely likable. Like Terry Silver, I can appreciate on a mustache twirling villain sense, even though I just
Yeah.
despise him. Mike Barnes is just a caricature in a bad way,
Yes.
and I always thought that in part 3.
So I'm curious to see grown up Mike Barnes and
Yes.
see how ruthless he still is. So yeah, there's a lot up in the air. Looks like we have Chosen coming into the fold as well. So
Mm.
it's looking like Johnny and Daniel and um, Chosen are going to team up and try to do some kind of something. So um, yeah,
Well, ultimately, you know that this series, whatever it is going to end with the defeat of Cobra Kai. That's just how structure logically kind of works. If it
yes,
doesn't, then it'll be really miserable at the end, and nobody will like it. I don't think because it won't be very satisfying. But I will say this, and I've said this for like the past couple of years about Cobra Kai, is that I really do not want this series to go on too long.
too long. Yeah.
I really, really like. I don't know if this is the final season of Cobra Kai, but
I don't think so,
I
but
know, but I certainly want it to be because how the hell does it get any bigger?
well, yeah, I mean, we still haven't seen Julie-san. So I'm
I
waiting for
know
that.
this.
I'm
I
waiting
know.
for Julie-san to
There's
come in at
been
some point.
no
Maybe,
Hillary
you
Swank,
know,
and
no
again,
Hillary Swank. I
there's
would
been
love her to
no
come in as Hawk's aunt or something.
there's
Where
been
she gets
no
wind of
Robin
what's going
Lively.
on.
Where's Robin
Yes,
Lively?
I know. The non-girlfriend.
If
Like
you're going all out for part 3 this season, Mike Barnes, Terry Silver, running the world, this very part 3 kinds of stuff, where's Robin Lively?
yeah, I mean we had Elizabeth Shue, so
We did.
I
There's
mean,
no reason she shouldn't be in
or just
Cobra
pop
Kai
up the no
season 5.
girlfriend. I mean, we're getting a lot of episode movie 3 people. So yeah, might as well bring her back too. So I mean, there's still some people I think we're still waiting to see pop up. So and I think Community always said it the best, 6 seasons in a movie. So 6
But we've
seasons I
had
think is
4
always
movies.
I know, but not with these kids and this whole situation, right? But I
6 seasons
also
is too long. Is
well,
this
I
my
think
British tendency?
yeah, with your series that are like 3 seasons and it's
3
done.
seasons, 6 episodes, 22 minutes, it's all you need.
Yeah, uh-huh. Anyway,
It is.
but I did hear that they actually are making a Karate Kid movie, but it's like a inverse type movie. So you have your
Oh.
you have your kid, your teenager coming from China who already knows martial arts, and he teaches martial arts to like an old like store owner who's like having problems with people harassing them in their store.
Okay.
So I've seen rumblings
What's
of a
what's with these in-universe movies that we're getting these days? Is this
well,
just
no, as
happening
far as I
now?
know, it's not connected to the show in any way, but um I've just heard that that's kind of the loose idea of this Karate Kid reboot movie that they want to make. So
Just feels like Lightyear. Let's make
what?
it an in like Lightyear, the in-universe movie that Andy saw that was his favorite
Yes,
movie and that
yes.
made him buy the Buzz Lightyear toy. Why are we getting in-universe movies? It's good
Well, it's not
once.
it's not an in-universe movie. It's a
I thought you
complete
just said that's what it was.
no, it's a reboot. It's a complete like its own
Oh.
thing.
Oh, I thought you said it was like an
No,
in-universe movie that they all went and
no,
saw
I
that was
never
like,
even said the word in-universe.
oh, I'm sure you did. Am I
No,
hearing things?
yeah, I think you're hearing what you want to hear.
I don't want to hear it. That's the
No,
problem.
no.
I don't.
So yes, there is talk of a um Karate Kid movie reboot. But I believe it is separate from all the stuff happening in the show. But I mean, if they depending on what happens in this season, I think they could go one more sixth season and then call it done.
I would love them to because the last thing I want is 10, 12 seasons of garbage, you know?
I know, but like, so they've definitely been able to kind of draw out the story and keep it going and keep it fresh and interesting and exciting. Because this is always one of my favorite binges. Which even just watching this
Yes.
trailer, I was like, "Ooh, I kind of forgot some things. I could go for another binge again and like really
I
like it to
think
the
it's
moon."
also a show that actually, and I think there's not many anymore because streaming TV has changed again and is now primarily and more popularly weekly again
Yeah.
rather
Mhm.
than binging. But I still think Cobra Kai works so well as a binge rather than
Yes.
separate.
Yes.
I
Like
I
I've
love
binged it.
nothing more than just going right 7 hours straight, bang,
Let's
straight
just do
through.
it. Yeah. Like I've done maybe like 3 binges of the show for every kind of season coming out. So, and every time it's been fun and it's still exciting and I'm still like, "Oh my gosh," like I still have reactions to things and emotions about things, and to have that on every watch is just a testament to what the show's doing and how they're able to keep it fresh and fun and kind of poke fun at itself and really embrace and show all the love they have for these movies and this kind of universe. So all of that comes across. So I'm really excited for this new season.
Oh
I'm really
yeah.
curious to see where it goes, if good
Even
will
though we've now
finally
got
triumph, and
yes, even though we've now got what, 2 seasons in the same year?
yeah,
Pretty
because
sure season 4 was January this year.
he was at the beginning of this year, yeah. So,
Um,
I'm excited to do another binge and then get into this season 5 because I really,
yes.
really love this show. I think it's just so smart and the care that goes into the show and the love for these films, really shows. So, yeah, I'm excited for season 5. Definitely, this
Oh,
trailer
very,
got me
very
hyped.
excited. And very excited for John Creasy's prison movie as well, that's going to
Oh,
be clearly
yeah,
a
we got a
part of
little end
season
scene
5.
of Kreese making friends in jail, so, we'll see
I
how
think
he
that's
gets out
going
of
to
that.
be that's going to be a welcome reprieve from the rest of Cobra Kai season 5, I think. Oh, good.
Yeah, I think
A
at a certain
scene of
point
Crease in prison, not Terry Silver, is what I'll be thinking.
yes, well, I mean, we did see Stingray feeling a little bit of guilt at the end of
Hate
that,
Stingray. Get
so
out of it. Get out my face.
so,
Stingray's
I
the
mean,
worst.
yes, but I think we saw a little bit of guilt in his eyes, so I feel like at a certain point, he's just gonna confess that he lied about the whole thing,
Probably.
because it's ultimately on him to get Kreese
Mm,
out, so, um,
it's
yeah.
true. It's
Yes.
true.
So, yeah, really excited, but we also got another Netflix show trailer.
We certainly did.
Um,
This one I think we were a little tentative on when we first brought it up on this
yeah,
show. This is the Wednesday Addams show from Tim Burton, who
yes,
you would just assume, yes, this is great.
it's
Like,
perfectly
are you
fitting for
sure
that.
Tim
But
Burton didn't direct those early 90s Addams Family movies? Yes, he didn't. He didn't do
yeah,
it, even though it would
it
logically
definitely
make
would have
sense
been
that he
his
would do
aesthetic
it.
100%. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
there's 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 one aspect to this show that I do like, and it is the fact that Tim Burton's in it, and he just fits so well. Whatever you think of the last 15 years of Tim Burton's career, he fits so well with the aesthetic of something like the
yeah.
Addams Family. He just does. He gets that straight away. And I'm actually a little more sold on Luis Guzman now because I saw a little comparative side by side of the
Him
original
and
comic
the
book
like original
drawings.
comic. Yeah.
He looks exactly like Luis Guzman, actually. So from a visual point, I think that works. But I know what you're going to say because I know what we said before. Is there's nothing sexy about Luis Guzman, and Gomez Addams has to
No,
be
because
sexy.
he's sexy. He's also very eccentric, and a bit ghoulish. So I can
Yeah,
see the ghoulish. I can see the eccentric, but I can't see the suaveness coming
yeah.
out of him at all. And just the
If it
picture.
does, we will be going, fair enough, Luis Guzman, you've done it.
Yes, yes.
We did not think you could, well done. But we can't
But the
see
little
it.
bit we saw, I was not getting that vibe. And Raul Julia has kind of ruined every other version of Gomez for me because he was perfect.
Even John
He was
Astin?
John Aston. I thought was pretty good as well. Like yes, so yeah, I don't.
I mean, it peaked with Raul
I
Julia,
need to
yes,
see
I will
more.
agree with you. Gomez Adams peaked with Raul Julia, yes, but we can't forget about
Yes,
John Astin and
no,
his
no, we
lovely
can't.
little moustache
No, he was great.
in the 60s.
He had the eccentric, he had the kind of silliness, and he had the suaveness. He had all of the attributes and the ghoulishness as well. I just really feel like Luis Guzman is missing the swag, but like we haven't seen that much of him yet. I will kind of bounce off of our wonderful friends Tom and Kimber of the Odd Shape channel. I saw they were kind of talking about it on Facebook, and Kimber was kind of talking about the fact that the point of the Adams family is that they're different and they're just them and in a place where they don't fit in and they just s- are still wholly themselves.
Yeah,
Um
that's
so, so
the entire humor of the Adams Family
yes,
is the
exactly. So
we're playing
now
it, we're so weird, but we're playing it totally straight, and everybody else is weird for not liking the weird things we like.
exactly. So the fact that they're going to put Wednesday in a school with kids that are kind of like her
Yeah,
kind of defeats the point. You're
feels a
putting
little bit Hogwartsy, doesn't it?
well, I've seen the description. It's like Sabrina slash
Yes, that's
Hogwarts.
exactly what it is. It's
Yes.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
So
Why are they
all the
making it
sets,
Sabrina
it's
the
like
Teenage
all
Witch?
all the sets that they had left over from the Sabrina show Netflix, I think they just want to reuse it.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what they're doing, isn't it? Because they got
Yes.
rid of
So
that. It was a good
So
show, that as well. I liked that show.
so the fact that they are just kind of taking her out of a regular high school and putting her in this place where, she's going to be around. Yes, there's going to be kind of peppy people there, but it's like people who are weird and quirky and magical and whatever, you know, like
You,
her in a way. So
you lose that core
you definitely
element.
lose that. And Tom also was very kind of funny when he was like, also the violence was very much kind of PG violence. So seeing a dude get his balls eaten off by a piranha and like blood going everywhere is kind of
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
bounces over that line,
there's nothing gory about the Addams Family. It's
you know.
dark, it's creepy, it's
Yeah, it's
spooky,
macabre.
it's incredibly macabre, but it's a Vincent Price movie. It's not a Evil Dead movie. You know,
Yeah. It's
it's
the
not
Tingler, it's
gory.
not
It is.
it's
Well,
not.
it's House on Haunted Hill, and I may be bringing up House on Haunted Hill later, but it's
Yeah.
that vibe. Well, it's not really House on Haunted Hill, I suppose, is it? It's more like what would you say? It's more like
Well, I said
something
like
like
it's like the Tingler, like it's very much like,
a little bit like the Tingler,
silly.
yes.
Yeah.
I was
It's
thinking
just
of
like
more of a
silly
gothic
terror
manor type
type. Yeah.
movie, really. But it's certainly not gory. And
Yeah.
there was a little bit of gore seemingly in this trailer, which I'm
Yes.
a
And in
little
the
bit
trailer.
unsure about. I'll give it a
So yeah,
go.
I don't know. So I would give the first episode a chance, but the trailer did not really kind of sway me more in its favor. It's kind of seems like it's gonna lose some of the elements that made the show and the movies so good, and these characters so good, that they're just kind of wholly themselves without any kind of care of judgment. And if you kind of put them in an environment that's very much fits them, that kind of takes that interesting part away. So I
Yeah,
don't know how that's gonna play.
I think Wednesday Addams isn't somebody that you want a coming of age story about. Because I think Wednesday Addams came of age at about 4 years old when she realized she loved
Yeah.
torture. And then that was just
Yes.
her for the rest of her
That was her
life,
thing.
you
Yes.
know?
And it's why I think people love the second movie so much and remember so much about the camp and the Thanksgiving thing, because it was
Yeah.
Wednesday at this very much peppy, preppy, happy camp. And there were so many comedic scenes that played off of her being in this so far away from what she knows environment. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about them putting her at Sabrina Hogwarts, but
No. I do think Jenny Ortega fits her, though.
I'm curious to see the family dynamic and Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones and how they play these characters that we kind of know pretty well by now. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, but this trailer didn't super sway me in its favor, I'll say.
I would agree with that. I would certainly, I'm certainly giving it a chance, but if it doesn't feel gothic enough to me, which I don't see how it wouldn't, because, like I said, you've got Tim Burton behind it,
Yeah.
but I just don't want it to be a school show, and it's going
Yeah.
to be a school show. I don't
Yeah.
really, I don't really
Like
like, I don't
I
really
would like
love
to
that
see the
idea.
family dynamic, like it circles around Wednesday and it's from her perspective, but to still have the kind of family aspect of it, because that's kind of
Yeah,
this special thing about that. So
yeah.
I don't know. I
No,
will give it a chance, I think.
no,
But
definitely, definitely. I mean, there's other fun things on the horizon as well, I suppose, isn't there? In terms of movies, I've recently seen the trailer. Apparently, this trailer's been out for ages, but I hadn't even heard of this movie.
yeah.
It's this new Florence Pugh, Harry Styles movie from Olivia Wilde directing it. This "Don't Worry, Darling" movie that looks like a bit
Yes.
creepy and
So
set in the 50s. And
yeah, so for you, you barely got Nope like what, last week?
yeah, last week we got Nope. Actually, I'll just give a little bit of a thoughts on Nope, I
Okay.
suppose, because
Now that you've finally seen it.
we
Yeah,
haven't
because you
really
hadn't seen
talked
it
about
yet.
it. So yeah, I did only get it last week, and I only saw it this past week since the last episode of Monday Madness.
Yeah.
I really quite enjoyed Nope. Actually, it certainly was a little bit of a detraction from Jordan's other two movies.
Yes.
In the sense that it was nowhere near as dark, nowhere near as kind of. I don't even feel it was as poignant in terms of its message or anything like that. It simply felt like a bit more of a fun movie, a bit more of a spectacle movie, a bit more of a
Well, yeah, I think spectacle is kind of the main theme of that movie.
it well, absolutely it is,
And
but
the obsession with spectacle over anything else. Like you're willing to kind of, put your mental health and so much aside for,
for
getting a
showcasing
shot.
something.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
getting that cool shot or seeing that cool thing or being a part of that insane thing that people just couldn't look away from, you know?
And then talk about it for the rest of your career, Stephen Yeun.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
which is exactly what he does in that movie. So I
Yeah.
suppose it is. It's a lot about the obsession of
Spectacle, yeah.
spectacle of the story we have experienced, I suppose, like that, and telling the world this unique thing that we have experienced,
Found, yeah.
which
So,
which is interesting and is very different. And I like the fact that it's different from Jordan Peele, to be honest with you, because
yeah.
he could have just kept making the same style of movie. And I like both Get Out and Us very, very much. I think they are very different movies, but I think they deal with a little bit of some of the same kind of things. They are tonally very, very similar.
Yeah.
Um, they have obviously radically different stories, but this one is
Yes.
so. This one's it's a it's a big movie. It's an open movie. It's a bright movie. It's a kind of when Daniel Kaluuya's riding this horse around at the end of towards the end of this movie, trying to get the shot of whatever. We never really get a description of whatever the hell the thing is, do we?
Yeah,
That's
no.
flying around eating people. Um, but it feels like some sort of western. Sometimes you get this really good
Yeah, I
score.
think that's definitely what he was going for sure, like, we
There's horror
see
elements, though. It will definitely
yes,
make you feel scared of open spaces
or looking up at the sky.
or
I
looking up
think
at the sky.
I think he was trying to have this inverse kind of Jaws effect, you know,
Mm.
the fear of being in the water, now the fear of kind of looking to the sky. Um, so I think that's definitely something he was playing with. And yeah, like he could definitely fall into the Shyamalan kind of pigeonhole of, you know, you do these movies with twists and now you're known as the twist person. So then when you do a movie that doesn't have a twist, everybody's like, well, where's the twist? How come you didn't do the thing that you've been doing, you know? Or
It's like
even movies.
we're almost expecting some sort of
Yes.
scathing commentary that
Yes.
wasn't
So every
there.
movie, yeah, every movie now, like everyone's expecting to have some deeper layers of meaning and message and social commentary and you know. So he's definitely kind of in the line to fall into that kind of thing where now he's done a thing and now everyone's going to expect that from him every time he makes a movie. Um so yeah, definitely I think it's not as hard hitting of a message as his other films, but he's still speaking to some really interesting things and
Oh yeah,
um
he's still going into the psyche of people.
yes. But in a more kind of I think he talked about wanting this to feel like a summer blockbuster in a lot of ways. So it's kind of
Yeah,
a mix of those two things.
it is. It's part adventure movie. It's a sci-fi adventure movie, even though it's not like world traveling or anything like that. You're
No, it's all
basically
kind of
on
in
this
one place.
ranch.
Yes. And for me, like I didn't really know how I felt about it the first time I saw it. I had to see it a second time. Um so it wasn't like a love it or hate it. It was like I had to really kind of sit with it and really kind of understand what this movie was trying to tell me. And then seeing it a second time, I was able to kind of pick up on things and notice things I didn't really notice before and ended up really enjoying it. And so yeah, it was definitely a movie I had to sit on and
Yeah,
really because like with Get Out, I knew right away I liked it. With Us, I knew right away I liked it. So but this one, you know, I had to sit with, and that's what made it even more interesting for me that like I felt the need to kind of sit and think about it and see
yeah.
it again
That's
before
what it's
really
making you
forming an
do.
opinion on it. And the fact
It's
the movie was making me do that, which is something I don't normally need to do, that just made me like it even more that it was making me kind of really think about it.
Yeah, it's staying with you for
Yeah.
days and weeks after you've seen it that first time, and that's what a good movie does.
Yeah.
That is what a good movie does. So, all credit to Jordan Peele. I think he's doing great stuff, and I think it was a wise decision for him to make a movie like this
Yeah.
because I think his next movie he can go back to something to a more darker, a more scathing kind of social horror.
Yeah.
And we're just like, well, he can do other things now, but this is his home. We know this is his home. I'm
Yes.
glad that
But
he's back at his
veer
home,
off and do
but
other
we
things
know
as
he
well.
can.
Yeah.
We know he
Yes.
can, and that's always a good thing.
Yes.
Versatility. He's shown his versatility in the stories he wants to make, the movies he wants to make, by making Nope. I also think Nope's a really great kind of clash of energies. You've got Daniel Kaluuya, who's just so quiet and reserved in this entire movie. He barely seems to move in this entire movie.
And Kiki Palmer, who's just so kind of animated and
she's ridiculously animated.
Yeah. Yes. And I love her. I love that she's kind of getting her moment because she's been doing this for a really long time.
Oh yeah.
And she, she's built a whole kind of niche and career and things for herself. And but I feel like the greater majority really hasn't seen her. So
I mean,
the
I
ones
remember her from was she a Disney Channel or a Nickelodeon? Something like that. But I
she
remember her
was
from.
both. So she had a show, I think True Jackson VP on Nickelodeon, but she did a Disney Channel original movie Jump In with Corbin Blue from High
I
School
see.
Musical.
I
So
definitely. This
she
is
did a
definitely
Disney
my
movie.
era, by the
Yes.
way.
So
So
she did a Disney Channel original movie like that jump roping double dutch movie on
I see.
Disney, but she had a show on Nickelodeon, I believe, the True Jackson show.
Like
So
it's late my era Nickelodeon / Disney
yes.
Channel. So I did catch the Kiki Palmer
Yes.
teen TV phase,
Yes.
I suppose.
So then her first movie was Barbershop 2. She played Queen Latifah's niece. And then kind of her first starring thing, I believe, was like Aquila and the Bee with Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne reuniting.
Oh, but no, she's great. She's absolutely great in this. I was just fascinated
she's done a lot.
by.
I believe she's won an Emmy for because she kind of created this skit kind of soap opera comedy skit show on Facebook, I think. And that actually won an Emmy, I believe. So yeah, like she definitely has carved out a great career for herself, but I feel like just the wider masses haven't really seen her.
Well,
so
now they are. Now they are,
so
Jeannine.
I love that like she's kind of having this moment where kind of everyone's just seeing how awesome she is. She just, she's great at everything. She's like hosting and, acting, singing, dancing. She can do everything. And so I'm glad that people are finally getting to see that from her and getting to see, the spotlight and the eyes are on her, particularly because of this movie. So yeah, like I love Kiki Palmer. She's great. And yeah.
But yeah, this I was really kind of noticing the really interesting energy dynamic between them, and
I
really
think that was
it really
definitely
paid
on
off.
purpose.
It really paid off. I really like Nope. It was not as dark as I was maybe expecting it to be. It was certainly a big. Yes, there was horror elements. Yes, there was some nasty images. Yes, there was some kind of gruesome things going on.
Yes.
But it's a sci-fi movie. It's not massively a horror movie. It's a sci-fi movie at its absolute core. But the energy thing, the energy dynamic is what just took me aback in the entire movie. I do actually also remember seeing, speaking about Kiki Palmer, this one, she was on some sort of show somewhere, and she was going on and going on and going on, and you'll appreciate this, Ginny. She was going on about how much she finds Michael Ealy attractive.
Yes, she does. Well, because she did Barbershop too, and he was in that. So that's kind of where that started.
She loves. I was watching this thing. She loves Michael Ealy, and the host of this show just kind of sneakily brought Michael Ealy out. And she was saying Michael Ealy, and he's absurdly beautiful blue eyes. It's just too much for me. And Michael Ealy kind of just strolls out with a bunch of flowers, giving a look, and she just goes absolutely off.
Oh my gosh, I have to see that because yes, I've heard
Um,
her talk about him in several interviews. I haven't
and
seen
I
that.
and
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, I would agree. I remember when we I can't remember what movie it was specifically because I think we've done a couple
Oh,
of
Think Like a
Michael Ealy.
Man.
It was
Think Like a
possibly
Man and
Think
Think
Like
Like
a
a
Man.
Man too. Yeah.
But I remember being really taken aback by, good lord, Michael Ealy is
Yes,
attractive.
he is. He is very attractive. Yeah, I think the first time I saw him was in the barbershop. And yeah, those eyes, like, whew, ooh, goodness. Yes.
Yes. So fair enough. Fair enough to
Yeah.
Kiki Palmer there. But yes, that was our thoughts on Nope. Little bit of thoughts on
Yes.
Nope.
So
But
in Nope, you this was kind of your first time seeing the trailer for Don't Worry Darling, which
it
everyone's
was
kind of known about except you for these
apparently
past
so.
couple
Yeah,
months.
apparently
And there's
so.
actually a bit of drama surrounding the making of this movie. I guess when one of the trailers, the newer trailers was released online, like I think kind of everyone in the cast was promoting it and posting it on their social media except Florence Pugh. She decided to post
Oh,
a promotion for the Oppenheimer movie that she's in on the
okay.
same day everyone else was promoting Don't Worry Darling. So,
Question: Are you remotely interested in this Oppenheimer movie? Because
I
oh
mean
my god, am I not?
I am not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan. He's kind of up his own ass a little bit for
He's
my
very much.
taste.
He is so much, so much.
Like the scale of his films is impressive and he does have something to say and he cares about his films and he cares about the scope of them and I appreciate all of that, but he is just a little bit too much for me. He's just very high concept and it's a little much for me sometimes. Like I've tried to watch Tenet like 5 times and I just
I think
can't.
he thinks his movies are cleverer than they are,
Yeah, so
and his movies are presented as cleverer than they are. I
yeah,
think, and
yes.
yeah, just
So no, not
I
not
always appreciate
particularly
humility
excited.
in people. I always appreciate when people think low of themselves but are very talented. I think those are the kind of people I can get behind.
Yeah.
Like, no, this movie was it was okay. I'm kind I'm kind of regretting that I made this movie the way it was.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is one of the best movies in years. It's okay. Those type of people I love.
Yes.
Christopher Nolan's like, this movie will change your life, and it be
Wham!
wah, and it just be like, there's like several better movies that have come out in the past few months. What are you talking about?
Yes. So no, I'm not particularly excited for Oppenheimer, but I actually am excited for Don't Worry Darling, but
Oh my.
yes, there has been kind of rumblings of a bit of drama just in the fact that um yeah, Olivia Wilde was with Jason Sudeikis. I believe they have 2 children together and then in kind of the making of this movie, she decided to leave Jason Sudeikis and now is in a relationship with Harry Styles who is Florence
I
Pugh's
see.
yes, who is Florence Pugh's romantic partner in this film. So there is talk that, them kind of canoodling on set was very kind of distracting to the filmmaking, kind of, Florence is trying to do scenes with Harry, but he's canoodling with the director, and it's kind of so. And like, if you see a lot of footage of Olivia Wilde kind of
Right.
just following Harry Styles all around at all his concerts and just kind of dancing backstage,
Right.
like
I didn't really know any about this.
yes. So like you see her just basically kind of following him around to all his concerts and her kind of dancing behind backstage while he's performing.
Okay.
Um that they're kind of glued to each other. So I could definitely see them being very kind of canoodly and distracting on set while Florence is trying to, do a performance without the director really focusing on her and more focusing on her, the guy who's supposed to be her romantic partner in the film. So I could see that kind of causing some issue.
You know what? You can
Um
picture Florence Pugh. Because you know the type of person Florence Pugh is. She's a very genuine kind of person, or at least she
yeah.
she very much
Yes.
comes across that way. I can literally picture her going, what's going on here? Are we doing this?
Are
What are
we
you
doing this
doing?
or not? Like,
What are
what is
you
going on
doing,
here?
guys?
But
Come
there
on.
have people are just kind of reading between the lines of kind of social media stuff, just in the fact that like Olivia's like putting out posts. I loved working with Florence. She's so great. And then Florence doesn't even like respond to it in any kind of way.
Oh, see,
Everyone
this
is
is a
posting.
shame. Now,
Olivia's out here posting the trailer for the new movie and everything. And like Florence is not really even promoting it at all. So
this is a honest shame because I entirely believe that Florence is going to be great in this movie because she's great in
yes,
everything she's
yes.
done. But it's a shame when you can't. I suppose it's a shame when actors can't or find a reason to not be able to get fully behind a movie they've made. And it's understandable in this sense, really. I mean, you would be annoyed. And yes,
Yes.
okay,
So this is all alleged.
fair play to
This is
it's
all
all
alleged,
okay, yes,
but
it's all
people,
alleged,
but
yes.
I think I could see that definitely being a situation. Like, why is she not promoting this movie? You know?
It's hearsay, okay, it's a little
Yeah.
bit of gossip,
Yes.
okay, whatever.
Mhm.
But I also have to say fair play to Harry Styles for creating a movie career for himself as well now.
Yeah.
Because he does seem to have done. And I mean, me being me 10 years ago was kind of a hater of Harry Styles and the whole One Direction situation, and it was all a bit just too much for me, you know.
But he's
Um,
proven himself to be really
I,
talented in his
this is
own
what
right
I'm
as a
saying.
solo artist and
This
now
is
kind of
what I'm
getting into
saying.
acting. Yeah.
As the years have gone on, my respect for Harry Styles has actually grown significantly. And to the point where I'm no longer like sighing every time I look at him, like, oh God,
You're
Harry Styles
blasting
again. I'm like,
watermelon sugar on your way to work.
I'm not doing that. But I'm just like, okay, you know what? Fair play to Harry Styles. He's done well. He's done significantly better than the rest of them from the One Direction group, hasn't
Yes.
he? Really, and now he's in pretty big movies as well. Yes,
He's
he
in the
was in that.
MCU
He
now.
was in
Yeah.
a Christopher Nolan movie, which admittedly is a big movie. He was in Dunkirk, wasn't
Dunkirk.
he? He's even now part of the
In the
MCU.
MCU, yeah.
He's doing weird movies like this, and yes, okay, he's with the director, but it looks like a really interesting, creepy kind of movie. Chris Pine's there. He
Yeah.
seems quite sinister. At anything with Florence Pugh, I'm going to be in for, and this seems
Yeah, this
like
looks really interesting. I'm really excited
we
about
we
this one.
spoke about Jordan Peele and
Mhm.
social horror and that kind of stuff. This looks like a social horror,
Yeah.
and
Very
because
trippy
it's
and
set in the 50s, you know, I'm gonna be into it. I like things from around the
yeah,
50s,
of
don't I,
course you
Janine?
do. Shocking. Yes.
So I'm all in for this Don't Worry Darling movie, and
Yes.
regardless of any behind the scenes issues. I did see that Shia LaBeouf was originally cast as the
The
Harry
Harry Styles.
Styles
Oh,
role,
I didn't
but was
think I picture
fired
that.
because he was terrible to everybody.
Oh yeah, that's kind of his vibe right now.
It really is like
Yeah.
like really terrible to everybody. Like, how can you be mean to Florence Pugh?
I know
Like,
she's
I don't really
great.
understand that. And which it always it saddens me, and always, yeah, I suppose saddens me is the right word. Whenever I hear things like Shia LaBeouf got hired, but then was shouting at people, and then was being all demanding, and then was being all terrible to people.
Yeah.
Because
It's
I have had an
disappointing.
experience speaking to Shia LaBeouf for
Oh
a reasonable
yes.
amount of
And he
time,
seemed really nice, you said, right?
and he was just delightful to speak to. He was so passionate to speak to. I mean, you get the very, very passionate, very determined energy from him, but I always remember him taking a significant amount of time at a Manchester Film Festival to speak to every single person that wanted to speak to him. And he'd be there for a good few minutes with everybody.
Aw.
Everybody that wanted to speak to him and wanted to come up with him. He had time for everybody. And it just saddens me when I hear things like this, because in my experience, he was kind of lovely.
Well, then maybe it's a situation where he just needs to create his own things and do his own projects because, like,
Yeah.
the things he's done, Peanut Butter Falcon, Honey
Well, yeah, that's
Boy,
true.
like, those were successful and those were done on his terms, made movies made by him. So I think it's just he's just somebody who's gonna have to just do his own things, his own projects where he has the control, where he can cast everyone and he can direct or produce or be in it or
Yeah,
not be in it and make all the decisions, because when he seems to have to do something where somebody else is in charge, he gets very kind of um method and weird. And like, I think
he
I heard a lot
does.
of things when he did that movie Fury where they're all kind of stuck in a tank together, all these guys, Brad
Mm,
Pitt and all these people for weeks at a time. He refused to She didn't shower the whole time, so he stunk and he was like,
yeah,
you know. So yeah, he's going method and he's getting attitudes and things like that. So I think it's just a case he did two successful independent movies on his own that people loved and were done on his terms and
I think
seemed like it was
people,
a good experience. So I think that's the route for him. He can't really work with anybody else
no,
outside of things that he's making or he's controlling, I think.
I think people forget that, you know, the method should be what Brando was doing in the 50s, not necessarily what is thought of now as being method.
Yes.
It's not. It's getting into the psyche of the character by playing on your own experiences rather than simply acting. It's not actually becoming that person.
Oh
That's not
yeah.
that's taking it to the extreme, which is what seems to be the case with those actors we consider method these days, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I suppose that is that and our excitement for that. There is one little other bit of news before we start hulking out for the rest of the episode, which
uh
is about the Hunger Games prequel, Janine.
yes. I mean, are you a fan of the Hunger Games movies, Morgan?
I'm not a massive fan of the Hunger Games at all, to be honest with you. I watched the first movie and never watched anything else.
Really?
Yes.
Um
You are a fan of the Hunger Games.
I mean, it's again a Twilight situation for me. I actually read those books. So, another kind of accomplished feeling for me as someone who's not a reader, reading books and getting into a story and the excitement of like having free time just so I could sit and read. Like I haven't had that kind of I think the last book I kind of did that with was Ready Player One.
Okay.
And I'm still kind of on and off reading Midnight Sun when I get a chance. But
Oh, was that the opposite
yes,
Twilight
yes,
book?
yes. So yeah, it's definitely a series. Like I read the books, and so I kind of was really excited to see the movies kind of come about. So yeah, I am a fan of the movies. I think the last movie was not as strong as kind of the rest. I think Catching Fire is definitely the strongest movie. People really love Catching Fire, so I think it's definitely worth you
Okay.
at least checking out. Catching Fire is a really good one. Um, and then the Mockingjay kind of parts of the story are not as strong, but yeah, I'm kind of really curious about the story. Viola Davis was cast as a villain character. I guess she is the game maker of the 10th Hunger Games. So it's a prequel series or it's a prequel film. And it's going to kind of follow a young President Snow, a young Donald Sutherland, like 18-year-old Donald Sutherland.
I
And he's
wish Donald Sutherland was back. How old's
yes.
Donald Sutherland? Donald Sutherland hasn't
Yeah,
secretly
yeah.
died, has
I
he?
don't think no, I don't think so, but I don't think he can play 18, not even with all
Certainly
the
not. Certainly not.
so I guess he's gonna be mentor to a young girl played by, um, what's her name? The girl that Sia has in all her videos from Dance Moms and now
No, I
Maddie
haven't got a
Siegler.
clue.
I think her name's Maddie Siegler. She's like in
Well,
Sia all those.
that rings a bell. That rings a bell.
Yes, who did a music video, a Sia music video with Shia LaBeouf. So full circle kind of
Weird.
situation.
Weird.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna be an 18-year-old, I guess maybe someone who survived the Hunger Games, because I don't think you can be a mentor unless you've survived a Hunger Games.
Donald Sutherland's 87, by the way.
Okay, so he's still kicking. Yeah, I don't
He
think he
is.
can. I don't think he could pull that off. But yeah, it's gonna be a prequel story of him mentoring a young girl, and I guess he's from District 12. So I don't think we really found out what district he was from. So it's the
Who,
same as
Donald
Katniss.
Sutherland?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's from the same one as Katniss. So um maybe that's why he was always on her case all the time.
Bobs.
But I guess like he's kind of the last of his family's name, and like they're kind of a disgraced family, so it's kind of on him to bring some kind of pride back to the family. But
He's not the last
obviously,
of his family's name. What about Jon?
what?
Jon Snow.
Oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Like what? What are you talking about?
What about all the bastards of the North?
Oh my god,
Janine?
get out of my face, Morgan. Please.
Oh dear.
But obviously he does something right to become president in these later films. So curious to see
he
his
must do.
rise to power. Really excited to see Viola Davis as a villain because she makes a great villain.
She makes a great anything, really, doesn't she?
Yes. So yeah, really, really, I'm excited for this because it's going to be a new story, new characters, and a familiar kind of story. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of want to read the book as well because I do believe Susan Collins did write a book, and that's what it's based on. It's not just
I
like
see.
some kind of fun prequel or reimagining of the Hunger Games. I think she actually wrote a prequel book.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I think it's like the Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds or something.
Yeah.
So
Very elaborate title. I
yes.
quite like the title.
Did you happen to see the trailer for that in your watch?
No, is that got a trailer?
It's
No,
got like a teaser trailer. It's just like some icy branches that then kind of turn gold and reveal the
No,
title.
I forget what other trailers were actually shown now. I really do. Although I was reminded that Natalie Emmanuel horror movie that we spoke about on an episode of this show, that's coming out in like next week.
Yes, well, I'm
So-
glad you didn't see a trailer for that because I
Success.
told you it gives the whole movie away.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it does.
Did you
Never saw
watch
the
it?
trailer. No, didn't watch the trailer.
Okay.
Didn't
So
watch
yes,
the trailer.
avoid it. It literally gives the whole kind of movie away.
I'm
So
definitely gonna go and see that one.
of course
Oh
you
no,
would.
we did get a trailer for The Woman King though, which is another movie we
Yes,
did, which
we
is
did talk
Viola
about that.
Davis. We did
Yes.
talk about that, which does look very, very good.
Yes.
It really, really does. Anyway,
Yes.
Janine, I suppose we should talk a little bit about She-Hulk. I think the What's Up
Yes.
is going to just take over this show today.
So essentially,
I think the What's Up, we have a lot more to talk about than in our Let's Talk today anyway. 'Cause our Let's
yes.
Talk is a little bit of a smaller one, a little bit of a more fun one, not
Yeah.
as reminiscent
Elaborate.
as last week's
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
But She-Hulk, episode 1 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, was this past Sunday. Now, it is Monday when this airs, and yesterday, and I suppose today, depending on where you are in the world, House of the Dragon, episode 1, has aired. I, at this point, have watched it, but obviously at the point of recording in actual
have not.
present right now,
We have
sorry,
So,
we've not
yes.
seen it.
So we can't discuss it quite yet, but we will
And
get
this-
there.
And I think this is what's going to be the case, unfortunately, for House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Specifically because of its somewhat awkward
It's release day.
release
Yeah.
day for us. So, any ideas on what we could do to discuss House of the Dragon? Because I really think I'm going to want to. Or do we just do a massive thing at the end of the
I
series?
mean, we can think about maybe doing an episode to episode little kind of episode reaction thing or just do a big kind of talk at the end. But I mean, I think if each episode is definitely going to have a lot of detail and specific
It
things, I think
really is.
it would be worth it to kind of do a episode by episode special kind of show for that. So,
It's worth thinking about, but any ideas,
yes.
please leave, the
Yeah,
comments,
let us
tweet at
know.
us at It's a Wonderful One or at the purple dome with A3 instead of the E in the. It's all down the bottom of the
Yes.
screen or in the links in there if you have any ideas for us on
Yes.
how we could talk about House of the Dragon in detail.
Yes.
Because I wish it would air on Wednesdays or Thursdays or even
But
Fridays, Janine.
yes, it's
Even
just a very
Fridays
awkward
would be
day.
okay,
Yes.
you know. But not Sunday. Not Sunday nights
Well,
for a
Sundays is the
Monday
Game
show
of
that isn't
Thrones day.
live, you know.
Yeah.
It was. Yes, it
Yeah.
was. But She-Hulk Attorney at Law is a show we can talk about, and we are going to do a
Yes.
big live discussion on at the end of that series or that season of television. Anyway, but we had our first episode. Did we enjoy it, Janine?
I did enjoy it. I am just very kind of stressed about all of the ridiculous complaints that we're going to get going into the show. But I mean, people are allowed to have their opinions now that they've seen it. It's just been very annoying that people have been complaining about every little aspect of the show before having even seen it. So
Yes, it has.
and I think there's going to be a lot of talk of, okay, here we go, another woke, Mary Sue character. She's just now a Hulk and she's already good at everything. And we're going to get all that kind of commentary, I'm sure, which is just going to be kind of annoying. But
Well, let's just point out that She-Hulk has been a character since the mid-60s,
yes,
and everything was explained pretty succinctly and pretty appropriately within the first 10 minutes of this episode as to why she is able to Hulk out as she is able to Hulk out, which is admittedly pretty simply and pretty conveniently. It's not, we are not dealing with the same tone as Bruce Banner here, who struggles for years
yeah,
between
and he
him and
brings it up a
Hulk.
lot how hard it was for him. So obviously it makes sense that he is kind of just worried for her because of what he's been through. And he's like in territory that he doesn't understand that she can easily kind of tame it.
Yeah.
Also kind of how she was infected was different than how he was infected. So
Yeah.
that's going to change things. So there's a lot of variables in there that are going to make her experience different than his. So it makes sense that he is very kind of hesitant. Um, because he just doesn't understand the perspective of what he's been going through kind of through somebody else. And like she even says like we're different people, so it's going to affect us in different ways. So yeah, but I really see a lot of people just kind of taking that and running with it in the other kind of direction. So
Well, ultimately, it's a comedy show. It's a
yes.
light-hearted show. So don't think too much about it and just take it as it
Yeah,
comes.
like, I love that kind of when we break away from her kind of flashback explanation, and then she's like, "See, law show, remember?" And then we get into, like, the lawyerly part of the
Yeah.
show, only for it to which and then I was also kind of disappointed, like, they kinda do this build up to this fight, and then she kinda just throws a table at her, and then it's over. It's like, "Wah, wah."
I mean,
So
the
I'm
sort
sure I'm sure there's gonna be more kind of building to that, but it's like they really kind of swelled up the music and built up this whole her transforming in the courtroom, only for her to just like throw a table and it was done.
look,
Like,
there's I will admit. Now, I was expecting, well, I don't know what I was expecting really, but I wasn't not disappointed, but I suppose when Jamila Jamil actually showed up at the end of this first episode, I was like, "Ooh, oh, okay, this is nice." And then we got virtually nothing off her. She said
yeah.
like one line,
One
had a
line,
table
yeah.
thrown at her. And that
And
was the end of the episode. I was like, yeah, okay. I wish
yeah.
they could have just left that until maybe the next
Yeah,
episode.
or made it be like a actual kind of solid back and forth fight for at least a minute or two before
Yes.
kind of just ending it,
But
you know?
ultimately, it's an introductory episode. It's a
Yes.
backstory episode. It's an origin episode, and I think the origin of it was well told. I
Yeah.
think it was well told. I think it was fun. I really like the dynamic between her and Ruffalo. I think
Yeah.
that they're
That was really fun.
pretty great
And
together.
and we got a lot of good little kind of lost moment nuggets. Him kind of talking about him and Tony hanging out, building that bar together, Tony building that kind of place for him in Mexico to get away
Yeah.
and to have that lab to figure things out. And
And
so
the
yeah.
joke on today's sign, which is
Yes.
Steve Rogers got down.
Yes, because I think that's something like low-key everyone kind of asks and wonders about. So I'm glad that like she just went there with it and brought it up. It's really funny.
She just really needs to know. And I think it's a fair point if Steve
Yes.
Rogers ever got down in his
Yes.
entire life. And it turns out, Janine, massive spoilers for She-Hulk episode 1 here. Steve Rogers lost his virginity in 1943. Well done, Steve.
Yes, on the USO tour.
Well
So
done, Steve.
it's safe to say it was probably uh, the reincarnation of Peter Quill's mother, Meredith Quill, because the actress who plays the woman who kind of approaches him at the thing is played by the same actress
Oh
who
my God,
plays.
how do you remember things like this? I was assuming it was Natalie Dormer, but that was
Oh,
probably the...
maybe. No, but he was I think that's when he was really starting to fall for Peggy then.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, that's when he was kind of
And
getting
anyway,
closer to
and
Peggy.
anyway, he goes back in time, not that anybody else knows. He goes
No.
back in time and has the full life with Peggy, so him and Peggy
Sorry,
are
Peggy, got the sloppy second.
him and Peggy are perfectly happy together. Stop hating on Steve Rogers. But yes, we discover this vital piece of information
Yes, it's
that
great.
I love deeply.
Yes.
But I also love that it is a little bit of a silly show. It comes across that way. It's going to be fun. You don't get many fourth wall breaks in this episode. I think you only get like 2 or 3.
Yes, and then, like, even when she does it, like, the first time, well, the second time, I guess, uh, which is, like, I think probably the first time for her, like, in
Yeah.
character-wise, she's kinda surprised by it, which I think is
Yeah,
kinda
she double
fun.
takes, which is
Yeah.
always fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like a double take of a fourth wall break. It makes you think a little bit more. It plays with the joke a little bit more, doesn't it, when somebody double takes?
Yeah.
But it does seem like it's going to be very fun. I am excited to see the rest of it. Obviously, we know that there's going to be a good few people show up in this
Yeah.
particular show, one of which I'm deeply, deeply excited about. I also found out that actually this show is set like earlier than a lot of Phase 4, which is just,
Okay.
it's a little, it's all a bit timeliney, confusing for me.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
so I think technically this is going to be chronologically Matt Murdock's first appearance in the MCU, even though we obviously saw him in No Way Home. Like,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this is set before even Far From Home. I think
Well,
this
I
is
think
set before...
if depending on when the other shows kind of take place, Hawkeye took place around the same time as No Way Home.
I see.
So at a certain point, I think there was kind of people theorizing that, like, it's Christmas time in New York during
Mm.
the final events of Hawkeye. Maybe we'll actually see this new Spider-Man in his new homemade suit. And so the fact that there was speculation that we could see kind of Spider-Man just swinging by in the background in Hawkeye, that's kind of where we're at timeline wise, I think.
I see. No, but you think like the end of No Way Home was him going to college. So that's September-ish, surely.
Well, no, like, I think it was snowing and we see him
Was it
swinging around in
snowing?
It was snowing, I believe, and he was in his homemade suit. It was winter time, and he had just made his homemade suit, and we see him swinging around, and that's kind of, I think, how the movie ends.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get
Well,
confused. I'm
we don't
taking
see.
things as they come.
Yeah.
I
I'm
really
like,
to think too much about it would be too
yes,
heavy, I think.
yes.
But no, I really like this as an introductory episode, and that's all
Yes, me
it
too.
was. It couldn't be anything else. It didn't really have time to be anything other than an introductory episode. But I'm very happy for I'm very happy for Tatiana Maslany because I think she's a great actor anyway, and she's getting more
Attention, yeah.
attention. Yes, like very much like Kiki Palmer from Nope and things like this.
Yeah.
But I'm also very excited for Jamila Jamil because after
Yes.
The Good Place, which
Yeah.
is what a lot of people now know her from, but what me and many other British people know her from is like morning TV on Channel 4 throughout the
Aw.
2000s.
Yes, and just more kind of Pakistani representation out there,
Yeah.
and, that's great.
And it's, she's basically like a journalist. She's like
Oh,
an entertainment journalist.
and then
That's
she
what she
kind of
was.
just broke into, "Oh, I had no
She did
idea."
like press junkets, and that's why there's these videos of her like arm wrestling Dwayne Johnson.
I just see well, she does these funny videos now where she, like, secretly tries to smell people.
Yes, but it comes from her.
Yeah.
It comes from her kind of like press background.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she would do. She's an entertainment journalist for like. She was a part of a news magazine show that on was on Channel 4 in Britain at weekends. So she was also a radio presenter.
Okay.
So it's things like this. She was never in front of you. She was never an actor. She
Yeah,
was a
okay, well, she's
broadcaster.
really good at it, yeah.
But I'm very, very happy for her because
Oh,
I always
yay.
found her delightful.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to her on the radio years ago on BBC Radio,
Aw,
years and years and years ago. And then I remember showing up in The Good Place, and I was like,
right.
and seeing the cast list because I didn't massively remember what she looked like.
Yeah.
But I remember saying, wait, surely that's not the same
Yeah.
Jamila Jamil that used to be on the
That's
radio,
so
and it is.
cool. That's awesome.
So I just find her delightful generally. So I'm very
Yay.
happy for her. So I want to see more from her, and I want to see her actually be able to fight
Yes, yes,
Jen
definitely.
Walters.
Yeah,
I do.
and I like that they're not completely ignoring the events of The Incredible Hulk because I
No, they're
really
not.
do actually like The Incredible Hulk. Tim Roth is back. Um,
This is
so
going to be the most Hulk based thing since the
yes.
Incredible Hulk, isn't it? Obviously.
Yes,
So
yes. So I'm excited. But yeah, I enjoyed this first episode. I'm excited to see kind of what's to come. I've seen people, the fancy people who get their advanced little whatever's. They've kind of all seen the first 4 episodes,
oh
and
yeah, fancy people.
so yes, so they, not us for sure. They all have kind of said, they have their kind of issues with it, but it kind of picks up again by the 4th episode. So, I mean, those are those people's opinions. We are free to form our own opinions once we see them. And I'm still I enjoyed this first episode, and I like this show. So I
Me
will
too.
be I will be
Me too,
watching.
Janine.
Yes.
Well, in honour of Jen Walters, we wanted to talk about some other of our favourite instances of fourth wall breaks in
Yes.
movies and TV for our little Let's Talk today. Let's move in to the Let's Talk segment. Janine, I think we have 3 each. Do we have
Yes.
3 fourth
Mhm.
wall break instances
Yes.
each? Would you like to go first? Would you like to bring one up first? I don't know how much
Sure.
detail we need to necessarily go
um
in this. I just think why we enjoy the particular instances.
um well, I don't know. I think mine is played more like we're interviewing people and they're kind of
Okay, it's
speaking
still
to us.
it's still
Um,
that kind of thing, though,
so
isn't it?
this this is definitely a girls movie. Like it's like if you have a good girlfriend group and you guys laugh at stupid things and have your inside jokes and your silly moments and you know this is that movie, The Sweetest Thing with Cameron Diaz and Christina Applegate and Selma Blair. Um, Basically, it's such a fun movie. It's just basically about these three girlfriends, and they just kind of get into all these kind of crazy situations. And basically, Cameron Diaz's character, she is somebody who kind of sees love as a game. She'll, get out of a relationship or run away from a relationship or kind of leave a guy hanging to protect herself. So
Okay.
that's kind of what she does. So the movie starts with people kind of talking about her. So like all these guys who she's kind of traumatized in how she's
I
treated
see.
them by just kind of bailing, they're all kind of talking to you about how she's treated them. So it's played kind of comedically. And one of the guys is Frank Grillo, like a early
Young
young
Frank
Frank
Grillo.
Grillo.
Okay.
Yes, is in this little opening montage. So yeah, I like that it's kind of this interview kind of aspect of, let me tell you about Christina Walters, and they're kind of telling us about her through these kinds of little clips of these guys kind of just talking about how terrible she's treated them. And then by the end of the movie, um, she ends up with Thomas Jane's character, and so he's talking to us about Christina Walters and telling us, then he's like talking basically all this shit about her, but then it's revealed that she's in on it and she jumps into the scene, and then it's like everybody's happy and silly and kind of happy ending, right? So yeah, I just like that it's more of this kind of interview aspect of, let me tell you about your lead character and how terrible she is to men,
Yeah.
and all of these things. So I like that it's kind of this interview, like if we ask them, so what do you know about our lead character? And then they're kind of telling us. So that's what I like about The Sweetest Thing, and how they kind of did that.
Played for humor more than anything else.
Yes, it's a heavy kind of girls, a little slightly gross out a little bit comedy. So it's a
Okay.
fun movie.
You a fan of gross out comedy, Janina?
Hey, one of your favorite movies is American Pie, so don't you tell me.
Oh, well, hold on a minute. When is American Pie one of my favorite movies? I
You
like American Pie, but I wouldn't say it's
you
one of my
liked it.
favorite movies.
I would put it up there that you like it enough to watch all of the terrible straight to video sequels. Who else has seen
Um,
those movies? You're the only person I know who's watched the Bandcamp sequels.
I've only watched them because they used to come on TV.
Uh-huh.
I didn't seek them out,
No, sure you
And
did.
have I
Sure
seen
you
them
didn't.
all? Let's talk about that
No.
just for a second,
No,
shall
we
we?
don't need to
Which
talk
ones?
about that.
What? Right, let's get it up. What are the
No.
American
No,
Pie?
we
I
have
think
several things
there's.
to get through. No.
Yes, we do.
No.
Um,
No, we
I
don't.
have seen. I might have seen them all because I think there's 4.
See, there you go.
I
So
might have seen them
I think
all.
it's a fair assumption for me, even if it's not true. I think it's a fair assumption for me to make, considering you've seen all of the terrible straight to video sequels.
Shut up,
Okay.
Janine.
Yes. So yes, The Sweetest Thing, fun girls comedy.
American Pie's not a
That
gross out movie anyway. It's a sex comedy. It's not a gross out comedy.
well, I would kind of put them in the same vein.
It's not the same thing.
I,
Gross out comedy is all about like poop jokes, which I don't like, and I find revolting, and like vomit
Well,
jokes and things like that.
we do get a poop joke at American Pie. So I think gross out and sex comedies tend to have some of the similar elements.
I'm having to rethink my life now.
Yes, you don't remember the whole Finch scene? Anyway,
Oh, sure, yes, okay.
and Stifler's beer and
Yeah, well, yes,
see,
okay,
so
all
they dance on
right,
the same line. But yes, mine's
fine.
yes, yes. So anyway, and also James Mangold pops up in The
James
Sweetest Thing.
Mangold.
Yes.
That's weird.
Director of Logan. Yes,
That's very weird.
he just pops up in there at the end.
Very unusual.
Yes. So anyway, yes, The Sweetest Thing. Interview style fourth wall break.
That is played for comedy,
Wow.
a nice
Yes. Yes.
start. Yes.
Yes.
Well, Jeannine, fourth wall breaks can also be played for, well, I suppose it's a little bit funny. Fun.
It's
It's
a
a little
little
bit
bit
cheesy.
funny.
I mean,
Yes.
I always say
Every
that,
time
and you always
you say that,
think,
and I just want to, I just think about Tim John.
or Ewan McGregor, who we all agree sings
Yes.
it better.
Yes.
I wanted to bring up the fourth wall breaking in House on Haunted Hill because at the beginning of the and the end of House on Haunted Hill, you get those floating heads in the smoke that talk to you.
Oh yes. Yeah.
You get Vincent Price at the beginning, you know, basically just telling you what's going to happen. But it's such this. I mean, it's typical William Castle. Get the audience involved in your movie, isn't it?
Yes.
And you don't get many, you know, fourth wall breaks in old movies. Really, you get some in like the Marx Brothers movies that
Well,
they'll
it's like,
sometimes look at the camera and give a little bit of a wink, but not in like serious movies, really.
well, I mean, when I was looking up fourth wall breaks, almost every list I had um Norman Bates looking at the camera at the end as a
That's
fourth
not a
wall break.
fourth wall break.
Yeah, that's I don't see that as a fourth wall break, but
That's not a
it
fourth wall
popped up
break.
on several fourth wall break lists
No,
that I came across.
that's just a straight to camera shot. That's not a fourth wall break. That it's the same as the opening of A Clockwork Orange, say.
Yeah, that was on some lists too.
Although that's a bit different, really, actually, isn't it? Because the opening of A Clockwork Orange, there is actually a narration. But I suppose narration is different to if if the opening of A Clockwork Orange was Malcolm McDowell speaking, looking like he does at the opening shot of that movie and
Yeah.
speaking to the camera, I think that would be a fourth wall break.
Yes, because like Norman Bates, he is narrating,
Yeah.
but we know it's mother's voice and we know who she's talking to. You
Yeah,
know,
she's
she's not
talking to
talking.
herself,
So
really, isn't she?
yes, yes.
Um,
So
yeah. So no, I don't consider that. But at the beginning of and the end of House on Haunted Hill are definitely fourth wall breaks
yes,
because Vincent Price at the beginning basically tells you what you're in for the rest of this movie. There'll be murder. Oh no, what is it? There'll be food, drinks, ghosts, and maybe a little bit of murder as well. And he's
Ooh.
just kind of like he's just this weird floating smoky
Yeah.
head, and I
Yes.
just find it hilarious.
So good.
But it's nowhere near as great as the end of House on Haunted Hill when you get Alicia Cook Jr. from every such movie,
Oh
of course.
yes.
Also, we
Mhm.
should mention from Blackula,
Blackula. Mhm.
who gets famously killed in Blackula from that
The
one
great
great
slow-mo
slow
shot,
mo
yeah.
shot. Um, who just gives the spookiest line reading you've ever heard at the end of that movie. He's just like, "Oh, we're all dead. Who will be next? It might be you."
You.
And it's just so he's got this such
Yeah, it's good.
expressive face,
Yeah.
and just the way he says "you" at the end of this, and just looks directly into your soul at the end of this movie. It plays to, like I said, it plays to the strengths of William Castle movies. Get the audience involved, make the audience feel like
Yes.
they are entirely a part of this. And it's silly fourth wall breaks. It's scary fourth wall breaks. It's
Yeah,
not like
that's the castle
it is.
trademark.
It's not, you know, incredibly frightening fourth wall breaks, but it's just that little bit of unease. This is what you're in
Yeah.
for. You know, think about this on your way out.
Yeah.
Kind of fourth wall breaks right at the beginning and the end of the movie. Throughout the movie, there's nothing, but right at the beginning and right at the end, you do get these direct to the audience speeches, I suppose,
Yeah.
from characters. I should also mention Margaret Hamilton at the end of 13
Oh,
Ghosts
yes.
as well,
Yeah.
which is a phenomenal little fourth wall break
Yes.
when somebody makes a joke about a witch and she just gives a little wink to the
Yes.
camera. It's brilliant.
All movies we've covered on It's a Wonderful Podcast, so check it
They
out.
are, yes, they are. It is just lovely. But that is just another way that fourth wall breaks can be done in movies, Janine.
Yes.
For fear reasons, for unease
That's
reasons.
a good one. That's a good one.
Yes. Go
So,
ahead.
I mean, there are obvious ones that I think will pop up on your list that I didn't want to go for, but
One obvious one, yes.
so I went with Fight Club.
Fight Club, yes, it does.
Yes. So we have our narrator who obviously is going through some very intense mental issues. So
He's a
the
Hulk
fact that
himself.
yes, yes, full circle. So the fact that he can kind of turn and think he's talking to somebody else is
Yeah.
kind of the whole movie because he thinks he's talking to somebody else. So him kind of turning in and explaining to us what's happening really just plays into it's like one of the kind of rewatch clues that tells you like
Yeah.
something's off.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's like movies like this with kind of a twist ending are always great for rewatchability because then you can kind of go through and see all the clues that told you this is what was happening, this is what this is leading to. And him speaking to camera, talking to us is like the biggest kind of clue that shows us like, yeah, he's he's definitely just imagining that he's talking to somebody or whatever. So, yeah, I like the fact that he's talking directly to us and can kind of bounce in the story and out of the story and back to us and just seamlessly kind of weave into whatever's going on, and then Tyler's kind of interacting with us as well, and it's
Yeah.
this whole kind of mix of interactions. So it really makes you feel like you're in this world, part of this story. So I just like how the narration works with Edward Norton's character kind of just, glancing back at us and telling us where he's at and then jumping back into the story. And it definitely plays to just how screwed up his mental state is. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's a great example of a kind of darker side of a fourth wall break as well.
Yes, yes.
A messed up side, a weird
Yes.
side. Yes, we often think they're played for humour because of things like Deadpool and
Yeah.
a movie that's going to come up, I suppose, on my list at the
Yes, of
end,
course.
that are very, very famous fourth wall breaking situations. And it's, I suppose, easier at times to play them for humour. You think of something like, I know it's mockumentary style, but something like The Office, whenever John Krasinski looks at the camera slightly, it's played for humour.
Yeah.
But it's whether you consider that fourth wall break, and I don't, because it's
Because
mockumentary
we
or
know it's
documentary.
we know it's a documentary, so
So I,
he's
do, I
looking at
don't
that camera, he's not
necessarily
looking at
consider
us.
those. No,
Yeah.
I don't consider those really
Yeah, like, I almost thought that, and
fourth
I'm like,
wall
"Oh,
breaks.
no," like, he's doing that to an actual camera that's there, you know?
Yeah, it's part of the whole show,
Yeah.
the whole feeling of the show. But no, that in Fight Club definitely isn't, and it's clever that it does it.
Yeah.
I always say Fight Club's every 15-year-old's favorite movie because they don't get it. And
They
admittedly,
just
I
think it's
haven't watched it in
cool.
a long many years.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
But I wouldn't mind going back and rewatching it, like kind of knowing what it actually is now, rather than what you may misremember it to be.
Yes, and then it's again, like, you can just kind of look for those clues as to how it leads to, what we know is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Which is fun. And it's an insomniac movie, and I'm an
kind of
insomniac,
is.
so
Yeah,
definitely has a lot I can relate to.
kind of is. It's very
Yeah.
true. But a good other end of the spectrum there, Janine. The wide, webby spectrum of fourth wall
Yeah.
breaks. I
Yes.
like it. Now, I also have on my list a show that I used to love when I was like 12, which is Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, which was a Nickelodeon show
Mm.
in the mid-ish 2000s. I want
Yeah,
to
so
say,
definitely past my time of
yes, it's very much Morgan era. Very, very much Morgan era. I want to say probably 2005 to 8-ish.
Yes.
was
I
this
would have been
show.
in college then.
Uh, this is prime for Morgan watching.
Whew.
We are aware of how old we are, Jeannine. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we are aware. Not
So
that it
aware.
matters.
Too aware.
Don't be too
Especially in
aware.
moments like this. Yeah.
But no, the fact of the matter is, I really loved this show. I thought it was a great show. It taught you how to survive school. And I always went to school thinking that I would come across things that happened in a suburban American school and just obviously never did.
Oh,
Because am I there? No,
no,
I'm
but
here.
you were planning for that.
But I was planning for it all. And throughout every episode, certainly at the beginning of the episode, you would get Ned, who was played by Devon Workheiser. You would get him speaking to the camera as though he was speaking to you, saying, "Okay, isn't school difficult? What we're going to deal with today is bullies or whatever it may be that
Yeah.
particular day, science or something weird." Whatever little weird, unique topic was the focus for that particular episode. Winter's great. Just remember to put a coat on and all this business,
Oh
right?
my goodness.
So it was very, very much like that. It was a show based around pretty cheap, easy gags and sound effects and things like that. It might have actually been one of the Nickelodeon creepy guys shows. You know who I
Oh
mean. Or I'm
yeah.
not going to say the name of the one who ruined
Yeah.
everybody's childhoods, including
Yes.
mine now.
Yes.
It may have been one of his shows. I can't even remember if it was, because it wasn't massively similar to the rest of his shows, really.
Yeah.
In terms of humor. So I kind of hope it wasn't now. Because it was certainly one of my very, very favorites at that particular time. But it would just be, it was almost like an educational guide, but based around like a child or like a 13-year-old sitcom type thing
Yeah.
set in a school. That was very 13-year-old in its kind of humor and things like that. It was very, you couldn't watch it now and find much phenomenal comedic merit in
Yeah.
it. But
But for the time, yeah.
it was great as a child watching this
Yeah.
kind of show, and you felt like, he was teaching you lessons about
Oh.
growing up and about school life and things like this. And
Yeah.
he would, there would be jokes within the episode that would have characters and supporting characters look to the camera and make a little comment and things like that. So it
Yeah.
was very, very, very fourth wall breaking, but particularly at the beginning and the end, it would kind of
Really sit
introduce
down and
the
talk to
theme
you.
of that
Yeah.
episode, and then as he was walking through the school and then kind of summarize what we'd learnt through that episode. It's like, just remember, if you come across a bully in your school, flush a toilet on his head, and then he'll know what it feels like. It was kind of like that.
Yeah. Life
It was really
lessons.
stupid.
Yeah.
It was really, really stupid.
But
And I
nostalgic for you.
really liked it. Very nostalgic for me. And I had to
Yeah.
bring that up because I very, very rarely talk about that television show. And I
Yes.
wanted to, Jeannine. Ned's
Well,
Declassified School Survival Guide with a
okay.
really ridiculous title as well.
Yeah, it's very long. Very long.
I always liked it.
Well, my last one is also a show. Which also kind of has a long name. And it is Saved by the Bell.
Doesn't have a long name.
I
It
mean,
doesn't
not as
require
long.
shortening, does it? I mean, we used to shorten Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide to just Ned's Deck
Yeah, that's better.
or
Um,
Ned's.
Neds, just Neds. No, Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris always had his time out where he'd go time out. And then he would kind of
Yes.
like get into and explain like how am I gonna get out of this situation? If I do this, this is gonna happen. If I do that, da, da, da. And then, like everyone would freeze. And like
Yeah.
obviously they were like, just trying to hold their pose in the background while he's doing this thing. So I can only
They didn't
imagine
have the
like
technology to just
to freeze it and have
double
him kind of step
exposure,
out.
I guess.
Yeah.
Just do some double exposure, surely.
No,
They were doing
no.
this in the
They literally just had to
1910s.
They just had to, like, mannequin themselves in the back while he just did this
Weird.
timeout. So I can only imagine how filming went when every time he had to, like, do
Yeah,
timeout,
they've
they
been
just had
really
to
stupid.
freeze in place. But yeah, so it was this thing where, Zach would just kind of say timeout. He would do his little gesture. Everyone would freeze. He would step out and kind of talk to you and ask you, like, how is he going to get out of this situation? So yeah, I thought that was kind of always an interesting thing. They
It's like
kind
the
of kept it.
opposite of what I've just talked about. Like this is Zach Morris not knowing what to do and asking you for help, whereas Ned would know exactly what to do and you'd be asking him for help.
Well, Zach Morris is trash. So,
Oh yes, that's
you know,
true.
he always made the wrong decision. And uh, Zach Morris is trash. It's a
Famously.
great series. Please watch it on Funny or Die. It's great. So yeah, it would be him kind of just freezing the time and kind of talking to us about the situation and just kind of being like, okay, like these are the options. Um, so yeah, I thought that was kind of a really interesting thing that I didn't really see before on any other show. Um, to make it kind of like, Zach's our lead and we're trying to follow him around and I don't know if it was in an attempt to make him seem like less of a dick, like
Probably.
he's talking to us and he's so cute. Um,
It's still the
but
worst.
but he's still kind of the worst. So I'm glad that that series has kind of highlighted that. His cuteness just kind of blinded a lot of people to his assholeness. But yeah, it was something I had never seen before and done in a show really to that degree.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was kind of like a fun little extra thing to really kind of pull you into the show and just kind of set it apart from a lot of shows that were kind of having this similar vibe at that time. I think there were several shows that were just like teen comedy drama type shows and that were kind of just lighthearted, with a kind of moral message in each episode and
Yeah.
moral issue of the week type shows. So there were several shows like that all on at the same time, like Hang Time and California Dreams. So I like that at least Saved by the Bell tried to do one kind of thing with their lead character to kind of set
Would
it
a
apart.
Boy
So
Meets World fall into the
yes.
category as well? Yes.
Yes. So definitely like that, it was doing at least something to kind of be unique.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I think, these teen fourth wall breaks, I think, are important.
Yes.
I have mine, you have yours.
Because I think
This
we all kind of
works.
we all kind of, especially at that age, kind of see ourselves as the protagonist of our own story. And we're just like,
Oh, sure.
we talk to ourselves and.
I talk to myself every single day. I think it's wise to talk to yourself because,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
one of the
thing that
rare
everyone.
occasions that you can have an intelligent conversation.
Wow. Well, I hope you don't mean
No, I
present
don't
company
mean that. Somebody
not
said that.
included.
Somebody said that. What? That's a quote from something. I don't know what that's a quote from now. It's like, the reason I talk to myself is the only way I can be guguaranteed
But
an
it's also
intelligent
this
conversation.
thing.
It might be Gandalf. It might be a
Yes, it
Gandalf
does sound
quote.
very Gandalfy, but it's like it's something that's seen as crazy, but everybody does it. Whether
Everybody
you
does it.
realize it or not, everybody does it.
Of course they do. They have to.
Yeah.
Some days when I'm not at work, it's the only way I actually speak at all. It's when I speak to myself.
Serious.
Unless I'm doing a show. I'm either speaking to you or I'm speaking to myself.
To yourself? Wow.
Just all I need. It's all I need.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, they do though. Everybody speaks to themselves. It's very important. I like that we both have our teen fourth wall breaks.
Yes.
I like that.
So of course your third.
Yes, my third, my last one is. You'd still say it's probably the best. It's certainly one of the most famous
It is probably
The
the
most
most famous.
notable
Yeah.
fourth wall breaks in movies and TV, because it's the entirety of Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Yes.
which is one long fourth wall break, really, isn't it?
Yes.
But is, I suppose, basically does what our last two ones, what Ned's and Saved by the Bell does in terms of teaching its audience, I suppose, moral lessons, kind of coming of age lessons, things like
Yeah.
that. But in a comedic way, but in a really poignant way as well. Because I think Ferris Bueller really nails the balance of that.
Yeah.
Of being very, very funny and very, very meaningful.
Yes.
And obviously, you know, Ferris himself is continually speaking to us, telling us that to stop and look around once in a while. Life
Yeah.
moves pretty fast. If
Yeah.
you don't stop to look around once in a while, you could
You
miss
might
it.
miss it. Yeah.
Which is a really, you know, it comes across as cliche, but is a
But it's
very, very
actually a good
poignant
message.
quote.
Yeah. People
Very,
forget
very
to
good
do that.
message.
Yeah.
And obviously at the start it's played more comedically with these clammy hands and he's faking to be sick and
Yeah.
let's trick the parents into staying off school again. But it's constantly brought up. It's a very meta movie, I suppose, isn't it? Really, it's a movie that is fully aware of its own joke, is fully aware of its own existence, and is very, very clever, very, very funny,
Yes.
very, very clever, and very, very meaningful in its fourth wall breaks. I think it's the perfect balance of everything that we've brought up in our fourth wall break discussion.
Yes.
And I still think it's probably the best instance because it does balance everything. I think something like Deadpool, honestly, in terms of mainstream movies, nails comedic fourth wall breaking 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it doesn't have much, like the dramatic points of that movie and those two movies, really. And I suppose him as a character, yes, okay.
Yeah.
But the dramatic moments of those movies don't necessarily break the fourth wall. It's mostly all
the
comedic
comedic
stuff,
Yeah.
little quips and things like that. But Ferris Bueller's very much it's a more mature feeling. Saved by the Bell / Ned's,
Yeah.
which is, you know, this kind of educational fourth wall break, the moral lesson fourth wall break, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think it's great. I really do. I love
No,
Ferris
it's
Bueller's Day Off. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is also one of those movies that I talked about a lot last week, but one of those that Morgan's family enjoys as a family.
Oh, okay.
You know, rather than just I enjoying it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. I think my dad would happily watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off every single day if he could.
Well, we might have to do some kind of watch along.
I think he'd be perfect for a Ferris Bueller's Day Off watch along. He loves it.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves it.
I mean, it
And
wouldn't fit with
rightfully
our
so.
Christmas with Dad theme, but
No, it wouldn't. But he doesn't just have to come on at Christmas, even though
I
that
know.
has
Good
been the
times.
joke for the last
Yeah.
couple of years. But yeah, I just think it's great, and it's never beaten for all round fourth wall breaking excellence.
Yeah. It's perfect.
I'd have to say that.
Example. Yes.
I'm glad you would agree with that, Jeannine.
Yes.
I'm glad you would agree with that. Well, is it time now to get in to some fun and games?
Oh my gosh. It's gonna be terrible.
This fun and games is going to objectively be terrible, as we are taking a Hulk-themed fun and games today.
Yeah.
In honor of She-Hulk, of course. But, well, Jeannine, would you like to explain what we've done here?
So we're gonna ask each other some trivia questions, but Morgan's gonna ask me questions about Ang Lee's Hulk,
Yes.
and I'm gonna ask Morgan trivia questions about the Incredible Hulk, and we'll both have a bonus question about the Hulk TV show.
Yes, this is going to be a silly fun
The
and
Lou
games.
Ferrigno, Bill Bixby, that's his name? Am I
I've got
remembering?
no idea. Absolutely no idea. This is going to be a silly fun and games,
Okay.
but it's Hulk themed.
Yes.
Our Let's Talk Fourth Wall Breaking was in honor of Jen Walters. We've spoken about She-Hulk. Hulk is all over the place this week. Rightfully so, because the show was pretty fun.
Yes.
Show was pretty fun to start off with. Well, Jeannine, I think we have 5 questions each.
Yes.
I am asking about Ang Lee's Hulk.
Which I have not watched in a very long time.
And I have not watched The Incredible Hulk since I think the very start of Morgan Hasn't Seen.
Wow, that's a long time.
Which is a long time ago now. So, who would like to go first?
Well, you know I always want to get it over with.
You do like to answer first. Okay.
Yes.
Question number 1 in relation to Ang Lee's Hulk from 2003, Jeannine. What is the profession of Lou Ferrigno and Stan Lee's cameo characters?
They are security guards.
They are security guards. Yes, they are.
All right, Morgan.
1 point to Jeannine. I'm going to get no points again.
Okay, Morgan. Instead of saying he's angry in Portuguese to the bullies at the factory, Bruce says what?
Oh, God. Instead of saying he's angry. Oh, yes. Does he say like he's turned on or something like that? Is it something like that? Is it some sort of ridiculous comedic thing?
No, it's comedic, but it's very simple.
No.
And it sounds similar to hangry. Angry. He says he's hungry.
He says he's hungry.
Yes.
Would have been a bit funnier if he'd have
and
said
he says, like in Portuguese, you wouldn't like me when I'm hungry. And they're like, wait, what's he talking about? Yeah. So it's supposed to be like him saying the big line in another language, but he says it wrong because he doesn't know the language that well.
I'm sure that's a Snickers advert, by the way.
Yes.
You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry.
Yes.
I'm absolutely convinced it's a Snickers advert.
Yes.
Anyway, it's not a surprise, is it? Question number that I got that wrong. What a surprise. Question number 2, Jeannine.
Yes.
About Ang Lee's Hulk from 2003 is what is the first name of Nick Nolte's character? The first name. The last name's obvious. The first name.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess, and with a vague memory, but not even really. William.
It is not William. It is not William. Jeannine, it is David.
Oh.
As in a reference to the TV show that changed Bruce Banner's name to David Banner.
Because they thought Bruce sounded too gay.
Yes. Yes. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Why does it sound? Does Bruce sound inherently gay? I don't get it. I don't get it. The Incredible Hulk. I don't get it at all.
It's a gay name. Okay.
Doesn't make any sense. And why is that a problem? Why'd you have to be so homophobic, The Incredible Hulk?
Exactly. What does the factory make where Bruce works?
Oh, God. I've got no idea. Do you know, I don't remember anything of this movie. I really don't.
What does the factory produce? What type of factory is it?
A clothing factory.
No, it's a whole plot point. It's a soda bottling factory.
I
Because
don't
some of his
remember this.
you don't remember his blood getting into a soda and then Stanley's cameo because he drinks this he gets one of those sodas and he drinks it.
I don't. I don't. There's too much MCU, Jeannine. I don't remember this at all.
Failure.
I might be a failure. I might. I'm not going to get a single one of these right.
You got the easier movie. Like, Angley's Hulk is
Probably
in
did.
anyone's lexicon of anything.
Jeannine, who composed the original score for Ang Lee's Hulk?
I want to say it was Danny Elfman.
It was Danny Elfman, yes. Yes, it was. Famous superhero score man Danny Elfman.
Yes.
It was.
What is the name of the college where Bruce hulks out?
Banner College? No idea. I've got I should have watched the movie. I've got absolutely no clue. It could be anything.
Culver University.
Culver University.
Yes.
Okay. Jeannine, I think you'll get this question correct as well. I've gone a bit silly. In Ang Lee's Hulk from 2003, what animal explodes several times in close-up in the movie?
So gross. So gross. It is a frog.
Well, it's a specific. That's incorrect, actually, Jeannine.
It's a toad.
No, it's a bullfrog. Specifically,
what?
It's a bullfrog.
So you're not going to give it to me?
No, I'm going to give it to you. I was not expecting to win this at all, so I'll just give you that. But yes, specifically, it's a bullfrog that apparently was. Well, they weren't going to use a real frog, were they? But apparently, it was like some of the shots were a real frog, and then they pumped it full of air to make it bulbous, and then exploded a fake frog. And it's just horrific.
Yes, they showed that way too many times. They showed it way too many times, especially for me, who's a terrified of frogs.
Yeah, you love the Princess and the Frog so much.
I know, that's why, because it's like there's a little that opening scene where like a frog lands on her windowsill and she's like terrified. That was me. Okay. What does Betty pawn to get travel money for her and Bruce when they're on the run?
A necklace.
Yes.
Yes.
Her mom's necklace.
Yes. I vaguely remembered that one.
Yay. Good
well
job.
done, Morgan. 1 point to Morgan. Not totally useless from Morgan. Good.
Yes.
Well, this isn't this final question, Jeannine, which is the 5th question before our bonus questions, is not necessarily about Ang Lee's Hulk specifically, but Sam Elliott plays Thaddeus Ross in Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yes.
Yet Sam Elliott appeared in another Marvel movie, which was what?
What? Oh, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider is the correct answer.
Just hear him saying fucking Sam Van Gonza.
Ghost Rider is the correct answer.
Yes. I actually own Ghost Rider.
Brilliant.
I love that early era of terrible superhero movies. So good.
Pre-MCU Marvel movies.
Yes.
You gotta love them.
Yes. Final question.
Some are great. Some are great. Some are really not.
Yes, but they were their own special moment in time when, like, they were trying to give us what we wanted. So I appreciate
just think about the quality of movies like the Spider-Mans and X-Men and X2, and then Elektra and Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider and the Punisher. Fantastic Four, all good in their own terrible.
Of course they are. Of course they are. And Ang Lee's Hulk.
Poor little Ting Ting tried. Final question, Morgan.
Yes.
What is the name of the pizza place where Bruce is hiding out when he
Oh,
returns to the States?
is it a Marvel reference?
Kind of, yeah.
Is it? I don't know. I'm gonna say the name of a pizza place that's in Manchester because I always like the name of it.
Okay.
And it's not even really a pizza place; it's a pizza stall in the middle of a shopping centre. It's called Hasty Tasty Pizza.
Oh, Hasty Tasty. No, it's not Hasty Tasty. It is called Stanley's.
Stanley's Pizza, brilliant,
Yes, so like Stanley with a Y, but also like
outstanding.
Stanley. And I
I
believe
like that.
Stanley's real name is actually Stanley. And the guy who actually plays the pizza guy, he I think voiced the Hulk in like the old cartoon.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, I like that. Okay.
Yes.
Safe to say you've won with the game significantly there, but I was quite happy I got
Yeah,
one
you got
question
one.
right.
You got one.
Now, Jeannine, the bonus question is actually a question you've already answered because my bonus question was why was Bruce Banner's name changed from
Oh,
Bruce in the original television
yeah.
show? And it was changed to David because Bruce is obviously
It's
far too gay.
gay sounding.
Yes.
Well, I had 2 questions just in case, like, you
I
had
did
one
not
that
have 2
yes.
questions.
Well, I had a backup one just in case, like, because I didn't know what you were gonna ask me.
Okay.
So just in case, like, we had the same question. So yeah, one of the questions was, how many seasons did the show have?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually. Probably way too many. Probably like 9 or something like that.
You're giving the show way too much credit.
Or did it have like 2?
I mean, it did pretty good. Think Cobra Kai.
Really? Okay, so
It had
it's 5.
5 seasons.
Okay.
And then the other question was gonna be, um, how many Emmys or what did it win its 1 Emmy for?
It won an Emmy.
Yes! It was
Television in the
nominated for 3 primetime
television in
Emmys.
that era, man. What is going on? I assume it probably won for effects work. Some
No, an
sort of effects work,
an
makeup.
actress actually won for Best Leading Actress. Um,
I've never
what's her
watched
name?
the show at all. Is this somebody who...
Mariette Hartley won for Best Leading Actress in an episode called Married. So
Brilliant. Okay. There
she was
you
on
go.
the show from 77 to 82.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Clearly didn't marry someone of the same sex, though, because the
Yeah, that
show
would have been
is
too gay.
ridiculously homophobic. It's far too gay. It's far too gay. We can't call him
Yes.
Bruce because
So
Bruce is
stupid.
too... Was there even a notable gay person in the late 70s called Bruce?
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Well, had you
Why is Bruce? I don't get it
I
at
don't know
all.
why that is inherently a gay name.
I just don't understand.
But I wasn't sure which movie I was gonna ask about. So in looking at stuff for just like the IMDb, I realized that Bruce Banner's mom is played by the mom from Stranger Things, Mike and Nancy's mom, Mrs.
Sorry,
Wheeler.
Bruce Banner's whose mum? Which one? Ang Lee's Hulk?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. I
Yes.
fail to believe that.
Mrs. Wheeler. Mrs. Wheeler.
That's
It's her.
ridiculous.
Yes.
That is ridiculous.
Yes. Go watch it.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Madness, madness, hulking madness, Jeannine.
Yeah.
Hulking madness. Anyway, I think we've reached the end of another episode of Monday Madness there.
Yes.
Fun times today. Loads in the What's Up. Absolutely
Yes.
loads of craziness to talk about this week from the What's Up. I hope we all liked House of the Dragon, because when this airs, we'll have all have seen it.
Yes.
And I hope we all liked the first episode. I am hearing nothing but glorious things. So it's very, very exciting for me.
Yes.
But yes, there we go. we've reached the end of another episode of Monday Madness. Like we said, whole bunch of stuff in the What's Up, fun fourth wall breaks in the Let's Talk, and ridiculous Hulk trivia in the fun and games this week that is just a little bit silly. But we appreciate silliness every now and again, don't we, Jeannine? We certainly do. Monday Madness, this show, is not the only thing you can find on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel, nor is it the only thing we have on the It's a Wonderful Podcast audio feed, is it, Jeannine?
It is not. We also have Morgan Hasn't Seen every Wednesday, where I force you to watch things you haven't seen. It is my birthday month, so we are talking some fun 90s and early 2000s teen thrillers.
Oh, yes. This week is Gossip from 2000.
We did talk some gossip today on the show. So
we did, yes, we
very
did.
Fitting, very fitting.
Very fitting.
And then,
very
of course,
appropriate.
Yes, of course, every Friday we have It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we talk classic films. We give love to those old movies that may have been forgotten. So yes, every Friday there.
Funny we should talk about gossip, actually, because this week's or this coming Friday's episode of the main show of It's a Wonderful Podcast is Sweet Smell of Success from 1957, about a gossip columnist.
Yes, so we're all gossipy all week long right here.
Seems so. We've got some sort of strangely fitting theme going on that we didn't plan for, which has just kind of happened, which is interesting. Yes. But that's nice. That is always good. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have you covered on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, all the other podcast platforms as well. On the YouTube channel, though, you get Monday Madness, this show, in its full video glory, as well as watch-alongs, live discussions, other fun videos, reviews, movie collection stuff, even some trailer reactions these days.
Yeah.
Which is very, very exciting. Plenty more stuff coming to this YouTube channel. Subscribe here. Ding the notification bells if you are watching this on YouTube. There's been stuff rolling across the bottom of the screen all episode long if you have been watching, including our donation link, which you can find in the description, our Patreon if you would like to support that way, which you can also find in the description if you are feeling very, very generous yourselves, and our Twitters, of course. You can find the show on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on Twitter at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E and the, because, Jeannine,
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just the Purple Don. All your Hulk smash stuff is where
you can find me at JeannineDeBean_ on Twitter, Jeannine DeBean on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can see it scrolling by our Teespring shop. Just search It's a Wonderful Podcast on teespring.com. We have some fun designs over there, all our logos for all of our shows, including some fun Stranger Things designs. So check that out at our Teespring shop. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
I just want to remind everyone, before you forget, Steve Rogers got down. It was 1943, specifically on the USO tour. Jeannine, a Hulk impression, please.
Oh my gosh. 3, 2, smash!
Bye. Yes. Smile.